It's been a while since we've introduced a new pattern piece, but here we go. This is pattern piece F, the waistband. Put it down on the table, or actually put it down on your ironing board with the bad side up, because we're going to be putting on our interfacing, our fusible interfacing, with the shiny side down. And then you just put it nice in the middle. Remember that this part has a bit more seam allowance than default on the long sides, and then they're just to the centimeter. You just iron this down in the middle, keep it nice and straight. When ironing on fusible, make sure to check the instructions of the interfacing you're using. Now take your waistband with the interfacing on it, put it good side down on the aligning, and align the top. What I want you to do now is I want you to sew along the top. However, I want you to sew about 3 to 4 millimeters above the actual edge of the interfacing. And the reason for that is that if you were to sew it exactly on the edge of the interfacing and then flip it over, then our waistband would stop and the interfacing would commence right at the top of the waistband, and we would run the risk that the interfacing would show from the front of the trousers. Now on the corner here, on the left side, on the right side you just stop, don't worry about that, but on the left side I want you to go about half an inch, about 1.5 centimeters before the corner, then go under 45 degrees, like I'm putting down my pin here, and then come down right at the edge of the interfacing there. So here's what I did. I've sewn across the top, as I said. I've came down under 45 degrees and then a little bit down. Now if you look from the other side, and it won't show as clearly here, but you can see that these stitches along here run a few millimeters from the cross, from the top of the interfacing. Then I dip down under 45 degrees and then right on the edge of the interfacing. That's what I want you to do. And remember, when you're looking at your waistband with the interfacing on top, with the actual fabric, with the interfacing and the lining at the bottom, everything aligned on the top, it is the left corner where you want to do this thing under 45 degrees. The other corner that I have here, I just let my stitches from the top just run to the end. So here's why I asked you to sew a couple of millimeters from the top edge there, see, and not directly against your interfacing. It's because when we flip this over, we're going to roll this interfacing back until our fabric is folded around the edge of our, we're going to roll the lining back till our fabric is folded around the edge of the interfacing that sits there. And because of that, the lining won't start until a few millimeters below the rollover point. So from the top of the trousers, we'll never see the lining, because the lining won't start till a few millimeters on the inside. That's what we want. So I want you to roll this back nicely, put it down on your board and press it like that, so it's a nice pleat around the interfacing here. See where that interfacing stops? That's where we're going to go around, like that. Okay, once pressed, here's what it should look like. You've got your waistband looking neat and sharp from the top, and then from the front, and then on the back it just sort of folds back there and it's nicely flat. In the corner, sort of shaped, it's a bit harder. You may get a little wrinkle in your lining, but from the front it should look nice and flat. It's actually a bit rounded because that 45 degrees sort of worked that into some sort of a curve. Okay, time to put our waistband on our trousers. Now, take your trousers with the zip in the front of your trousers. Start with the left part. Take the waistband with the finished side, not the other side. And we're going to be attaching it. The end result will be like this. So we'll be attaching it upside down. And this is where we'll be sewing. Our stitches will go just next to the interfacing there. Not in the interfacing, but just next to it. And here they should go, you know, seam allowance from the edge, but the edge, you know, don't look at the lining. So about 1 centimeter below that. So that's, if you will, your vertical alignment. This here should be 1 centimeter below that. Now for your horizontal alignment, I want you to take the edge, align it on the end of your trousers here, that flap on your zipper, and then give it like 1 millimeter extra, because this fabric is going to wrap around the other one and we need some extra room for that. Now, you need to pin this in place because, you know, 1 millimeter there, the right height, this is a little bit finicky. And we got a pin in there. Now make your way around the entire waistline, pinning the waistband in place. Take your time, use sufficient pins, because this will be important. Okay, so we've got all of that pinned in place. As you can see, the waistband goes around. Now we're going to sew here the top of our interfacing. Try to start on the edge here, or as close as you can. We're going to have to finish this with some hand stitches, by the way. Get this out of the way, we'll finish that later. And then just go around the entire trousers until when you get your waistband sewn on the bottom, what we're going to do is we're going to press this flat, and I want the seam allowance to go upwards into the waistband. So you can press this from the inside, which is always better, and the seam allowance, just bring it all up like this. And then press it down, and then later on we're going to put the lining over it like this, and it should all be clean and neat. We also have to finish the edges here, the ends of the waistband, both on this side and on this side, but we'll look into that later. For now, it's pressing time.